Now that Outer Banks Season 3 is on Netflix, I'll be sharing with you guys my tier list for all of the Season 3 characters, so let's get started. Hey everybody, my name's Justin here. I try to watch everything that hits theaters and on streaming services. If you guys are like me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and click that bell notification for more up and coming content. Today we are on tiermaker.com and I have a tier list of the Season 3 characters for Outer Banks. A point of reference for these characters for this tier list, I'm going off of their development for Season 3, how likable they were, how much they contributed to this season, the overall character. They may have a stronger storyline in Season 1 and Season 2, but I'm going solely off of Season 3 for here. And I'm not going to include characters that had maybe like one or two scenes or were part of one episode. These are the characters that I felt like contributed the most to Season 3. I think there's 11 characters in here. I could be wrong. I just didn't count them really quick. But let's go into these characters. We're going to have the top list as to be the best characters in the show for Season 3. A are really great characters. B were some good characters. C, they were okay. And D, they were the worst characters in the show. And I was thinking about this. There really wasn't a worst character because they're all likable in some way or had a really decent story. So I think we're just going to skip the D tier on here. And just so you guys know, this will include spoilers for Season 3. So we're going to start here with John B's father, who is alive in Season 3. I did appreciate that development for John B and his father in the season and that relationship, but there was a certain side of John B's father that seemed to be a little bit too aggressive when it came for looking for the treasure, El Dorado, and at times you really questioned what his motives were and how far he was going to go. If it was going to be putting his son at risk for his own gain. His character was a little bit of a wild card. I think his involvement for the gold really took away for some development for him, even though he was involved a lot with his son and they were working together. I still think he is an okay character. I feel like I didn't get to know him that much because of how quickly paced the show was. Next up we have Kiara here. I really liked her storyline in here. It seemed to be conflicting with her parents and her friends as well. Her family was involved a lot in this season. They wanted her to not be around them at all. They sent her off to that camp. And so she had to figure out what was most important in her life and stuff. And I think that really took a toll on this character. And we see how important that relationship is with her friends. I really liked Kiara in here. And not so much what she went through, but I like how it challenged this character. I'm going to put her in the S tier. I really liked her in this season. She understood what was important to her and also looking for all the treasure and everything and what she went through. They developed her character quite well within Season 3. So I think she is one of the better characters in Outer Banks Season 3. Next up, we got John B. Now, John B had a bit of a weird time in Season 3 as he spent a lot of time with his father. And so it took away from him being with the Pogues. And so at times you felt like he wasn't part of the group. And he had this whole other side story going on. And he was trying to have that relationship with his father. But also he was dealing with Topper and Sarah and what's going on between them two. And so he had a lot on his plate. But still at times I felt like he was pretty absent for most of the show, and that's, you know, with him being with his father and all of that, and the Pogues even realizing that he's gone for a lot of the show. I still really like him though. I think he's a great character. Not the best, but still a really likable guy. Still going through a lot and a lot of challenges along the way. Now we got Ward Cameron, who for a good majority of the show, I was believing what he was selling and that he was a good guy and that he was there to help all of Sarah's friends and be a protective father. And then like that last episode, it changed and his true colors really kind of came out and everything. It was unfortunate that he did die along with John B's father there, but his character is still wishy-washy, and you don't understand what's going through his mind, and that kind of keeps the show on its toes, and you're not sure what you're going to get with this guy. I think he's a pretty good character, not for what he put everybody through, but for how he kind of adds a lot to the story. So pretty interesting storyline here. I was believing that he was a good guy, not so much. Next up, we got Rafe here. Rafe was involved in a lot of the show. I was surprised with how much Rafe was in here. And he wanted to get his father out of the picture. I was really surprised with all of that he wanted to hire somebody to kill his father. That was pretty shocking. But we see kind of Rafe take on this new position, take control of everything, and see how aggressive he can be. I think he's a pretty good character. He really tests the Pogues in here, and starts to become his own character. You realize that he's been in the shadows of his father for most of the show, and this is a chance for him to kind of do his own thing, even if it is being aggressive and hiring somebody to kill his father. He's like his own person now, and I did appreciate that for this show, so we're going to put him in the B category here. Next up, we got Topper. Topper, I started to like him, and then it was like I didn't like him. I thought kind of like Ward Cameron that, he's kind and everything, and he's gonna have this relationship with Sarah, which I was kind of on board with for a few episodes, and then once she went back to John B, then he became jealous and everything, and we see him burning down the house and everything and being aggressive. And I think he's a good character. He came later on in the show. So already I can't remember what episode he came in, but by that point, we had already developed all the other characters and the storyline and everything. So he just kind of was in there to derail certain relationships and storylines in here. So I think he's still a good character. So we're going to put him in the B. Next up, we got JJ. I still like JJ. He's going through a lot in here. There's a couple times in here where he acts out of character, but we see that relationship between him and Kiara start to come into light, and I think it's very adorable how he was there to protect her and care for her and everything. So I'm going to put him in the A category. One of the better Pogues in the show. He's trying to figure out how much he cares about Kiara and kind of experiencing everything, and trying to help John B out a lot as well, and Pope and Sarah and Cleo and all of them. So he's kind of stuck in the middle of everything, and so he didn't get the most development, but I still think it was worth it in the show. I thought Sarah had a really good story in here. A lot of emotional moments for this character as we see that absence from John B take a toll on her father gone, her brother doing his own thing. She doesn't have a home, so she's relying on Kiara's family to help her out, but they kind of have their own thing going on, so she's just kind of trying to do her own thing, and then she comes across Topper again, and so she has these conflicting feelings, and does she care for John B? And I think they did a pretty good job with Sarah in here. I think she had one of the better storylines in here. I'm gonna put her in the S category. I really like her in the show. This is kind of when everything is just piling on top of her, and we see how she reacts to it all, and then helps out John B at the end, and her at the end with El Dorado, and how she came up with, and how she found out some of the clues as well when she got deep into the adventure. I really like that in here. So I think that Sarah and Kiara are the two best characters in season 3 for their challenges and how they overcame a lot of it, and the development for them as well. I think that their characters were strong within here. Next up, we got Pope, Singh, and Cleo. Pope, he wanted to go back to school, but he was so involved with a lot of other stuff that kind of went by the wayside, and It seemed like just a very minor plot point for him. When we learned that the cross was melted, that really affected him. I still think he is a pretty good character. I think that relationship with Cleo came kind of towards the end. I saw it coming, but I think it came a little bit too late in the show. But I still feel like there was a lot of times where we just didn't get the most development for him, because a lot of it was focused between John B and his father, and Sarah and Topper, and Kiara and her family as well. And then we had JJ and John B with the drugs and them getting caught and everything. That almost felt like the show forgot a little bit about Pope this time around. So I'm going to put him in the B category. I still like him, but we're going off of season 3. I still like the character, but in terms of like development and storylines and everything, it was just good to me. Next up, we got Cleo. I'm going to put her in the C category, just because she came late in season 2. And so we already had the friend group established, and she just kind of jumped in, and she's fits in nicely, but she's just there. She doesn't have a solid storyline to contribute to the show. She helps out a lot, but she doesn't have a chance to feel like she is a developed character. You don't get to understand like her background and everything. I think they could do a lot more with her character, and I'm looking forward to see what they do with her. So right now we're just going to put her in the C category here. And last, we got the villain of the show, Singh. We're going to put him in the C category. Started off very strong, very intimidating, wanted the treasure of El Dorado, used Kiara as a way to get closer to John B's father. And then once we got back to the island, that's kind of where it was halted, and we didn't get a lot of him, and then it picked up at the end. I think by not having him in some of the middle episodes, it really kind of halted that storyline and that development for this character. Started off very intimidating, pretty menacing at times, and then just kind of fell apart. And then we picked that back up at the end, and I think they could have done a lot more with it. They could have had it paced throughout the show, really develop this character to really have his presence felt in here. And there were some urgent moments at the end with John B's father and everything, but other than that, I felt like he just kind of fell apart in the middle part of the show for me. So I think he is okay. I am looking forward to season 4 and seeing how this kind of placement changes, if other characters have more important storylines or characters kind of fall apart. But this is my tier list for the characters in season 3 of Outer Banks. You probably have a different tier list than I do, so make sure to leave that down below. Who is your favorite character and who is your least favorite character? So now we're going to just kind of quickly rank these. I'm going to say Cleo's not the worst one, just at the bottom of the list, then Singh, then John B, then we'll go with Topper's fine there, and then Pope, and then Rafe, and then Ward Cameron, then Rafe, and then we'll go JJ, John B, we'll switch Kiara with Sarah. So there you go. Sarah, I think, was the best character in here, and Cleo was my least favorite in the show, but still like the character. So I'm curious to see if they kind of change things around for her later on in season 4. So there you guys have it, my tier list for the Outer Banks season 3 characters. How would you rank them? Let me know in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for more up and coming content like this. My name is Justin Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.